Howdy.
Howdy. Hey, wait, that's my line.
You hear me okay?
Yeah, I hear you just fine. How you doing?
Good. I'm in my car. I have there's a power outage because of a big storm outside. So I hope this goes well with this phone. I've never done it in my car before, so let's try it.
Where in the States do you live, if you live in the States?
Vegas.
Oh, cool. Wait.
Not snowstorm, high wind storms. High wind
Okay,
over
okay.
here.
I was thinking, wow, we're getting some heavy snow in Seattle right now. I don't know if those snowstorms can go that far south, but maybe, who knows, right?
No.
All right. Well, anyway, if we have tech issues down the line, that's fine. We can just, you know what? It's the thought that counts. All right. What's on your mind?
Well, can I start with the title of your video, Vaush? Really?
Yeah, sure.
Debating a Nazi. I'm assuming you're referencing me as being the Nazi in this conversation. Is that correct?
Yeah. Do you take issue with that characterization? I can change the title. I'll be honest. I was just kind of throwing it up as shorthand. Would you? Is there like a
let's be honest.
Or...
Hold on. Let's be honest. You were throwing that up there for clicks and views. Okay.
Oh yeah. Well, that's everything that I do.
Sure. You're a capitalist. I get it. What could you possibly have taken from anything I've said to you that would classify me as a Nazi? In our very short communications, Vaush.
Wait, hold on. You're cutting out. Well, the things you said, the media is absolutely the enemy of the people. Trans women are just men pretending to be chicks. You don't know what sex means. Huh?
That's absolutely true. That's not a Nazi position. That's a reality position.
Okay,
that has nothing to do with Nazism. But go ahead.
And then the border needs to be secured. And so this is subjective on my part, but the logo that you have in your Gmail account reminds me of a bunch of accounts that I've seen like cycling in Nazi communities, because it reminds me of like the aestheticization of German propaganda. So I kind of made a logical leap. But if you want to impugn me for being uncharitable there, that's on me.
Oh my God. Well, this is going to be an interesting conversation. In one of my responses to you, I just assumed you were going to call me a Nazi at some point in the conversation, not that you were going to just label me a Nazi from what I've said to you so far.
Well, if you like, I won't call you a Nazi again, and that way it'll sort of karmically balance out.
I don't care what you say, boss. I don't care. I don't. Oh,
don't you care about facts and lies? If you're not a Nazi, I don't want to call you a Nazi.
Well, I'm certainly not. I mean, I've been married to a. What are you going to say about this fact that I've been married to the same black woman for 27 years? I'm a white guy. I suppose someone like you would say it's probably because I have a slave master fetish and I'm just fulfilling my fantasies, something like that, right?
No, I would say I hope it's because you love her. Yeah. I would say I hope it's because you love her. But
Nazis generally wouldn't do that, right? I mean, Nazis generally wouldn't do that, right?
Well, no, I've known plenty of very racist people who had partners who were of different ethnicities. Yeah. Like I don't think it's an inherently like sometimes that just happens. Love finds a way.
Or you're in, and you just label everything that's not you a Nazi.
I mean, maybe we'll have to get into it, right? Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Really quickly. Your audio is cutting out a lot, unfortunately.
Are you going to end this conversation now?
Well, no. I'm just pointing out in case there's something you can do.
And I like I said, I'm going off of a phone and I've got power problems at the house here. So, I mean, how bad is it? Like I'm chopping up every other word or what's going on?
Right now it's fine. Every once in a while it gets pretty bad. If it gets too bad, then we can wait a couple of days. I'll have you on again and I'll be sure to amend the title for accuracy.
Yeah, you could say I'm a dumbass and I'm debating somebody who's absolutely not a Nazi. That'd be a great title.
I'll consider it, I'll run it through my search engine optimization expert. We'll see if we can't. Maybe
see if TubeBuddy can help out that one, okay? But let's, we don't have a lot of time. I understand you're a very busy guy. And there's a lot of topics I could talk to you about because the amount of insane things you say on your show are outrageous, are just, they're not ending. They're unending, really. I mean, you just all the time. I mean, I would love to talk to you about many different things, but I know over time, perhaps we can have many conversations. I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, maybe a beautiful friendship can blossom between us, you know?
Yeah. 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 I mean, I love capitalists. So you're definitely a capitalist. I mean, and can I say really fast before we go, man, can I just say that I want to thank my personal savior, Jesus Christ, for the acquittal of Donald J. Trump today. I think it was a massive victory for America, for everyone who loves this country, and I'm just so thankful. I'm just so thankful that there's a God in heaven, you know, that made that happen for me. So thank you, Jesus.
I'm happy. Yeah, man. Whatever prep work you need to get done before the convo.
Ooh, yeah. So
you know, lefties don't actually get like triggered by religious people, right? Maybe some of them do, but
I bet I can't see your chat room, but I can only imagine what's going on in your chat room right now.
they were
trigger
spamming
whatsoever.
the Trump emote because you were talking about Trump.
Okay, so let's talk about this whole notion that you have that trans women are women. Let's start there.
Okay, yeah, sure. All right, I can tell that this is going to be an extremely productive conversation. Okay, why don't you think trans women are women?
Well, why would I think that trans women are women?
Well, women is a completely subjective categorization, like all language is developed by humans. So what mutually exclusive categorizations preclude trans women from being women, do you think?
Well, they're the opposite of women, really. So I really just want to say that the notion that you can modify the English language or language in general, because I'm sure this is in every language, but you know, the language in general, human language, to infer an opposite definition towards something is just it's insanity, really, Vaush.
Don't we all amend the language all the time? Isn't that what language is? I mean, we didn't like discover language. We kind of developed it organically over thousands of years.
Sure, and I know one of your favorite things to say is that gender is a social construct, right?
Yeah, that's a very defensible argument. Yeah, sex
Sure.
is too.
I no, sex is absolutely a social construct. Age is a social construct. Race is a social construct. Units of time, minutes, hours, seconds is all a social construct. Everything that we view and see in the universe and we put through communication to each other to come to an understanding is a social construct. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So by your definition of social construct, then me being a 49-year-old white male who's 250 pounds, I could define myself or identify tomorrow as a 150-pound, 73-year-old Asian woman, and there's nothing you can really say about it.
I could say some things about it.
Well, you would have to agree that I'm able to do that, and that society should bend its knee to my choice to identify as such.
I would not say that.
And
do you think there's a difference between one's weight and one's gender in terms of the extent to which it conforms to social expectation?
But social expectation is a social construct. So what you're going in circles here.
Well, everything is a social construct, but not all social constructs are matters of identity. For example, the criteria that we use to arrive at our understanding of mass and how we weigh things, that is affected by social norms. However, within the context of those social norms, mass is empirical. It can be empirically determined. Whereas gender, which is more of a set of roles and expectations, is very much a subjective experiential thing. So it's both a social construct and a matter of identity, which is what distinguishes it from, say, you identifying as an attack helicopter.
Well, you could. So you're saying, let me see if I understand your argument right. You're saying that I can change my gender at will. I can be whatever I want to be. And along with, of course, society has to accept everything that I say, even though I'm probably making up stuff along the way. But let's just say, tomorrow, I want to be a Zafir. Is that one of the genders out there, Vaush? Zafir, am I saying that right? I think I read that somewhere. Zafir.
If you mean like some kind of non-binary? If you said you were non-binary and told it to me, then I'd respect that.
It was one of the words I saw on a gender chart of like, I don't know, 98 different genders. I thought it was Zafir. I could be misremembering that. Anyhow, I wake up tomorrow, I decide I want to be something I'm not. And I just say, you know, I expect the world to accept this as it is.
Well, tell
And in
tell
your
me how you
mind,
would tell the people around you.
the same way a doctor does when a baby's born.
So you would say like, "Hey, I would be preferred to refer to as."
When babies
Hmm?
no, when babies are born, a doctor picks up the baby and identifies the sex of the baby,
Yeah, sure. So
right?
for you, you would walk around to your coworkers or something, and you would say, "Hey, I no longer identify as a man. I identify as a Zephyr. My pronouns are ze, zer, and I would appreciate it if you were respectful of that moving forward." Like that's what you would do.
Well, no, I would never do that because that's ridiculous. But
Well, if you
some
did do
people,
that, I'd respect it.
well, what would you do if I said to you, I was a woman, I expect to be treated as a woman,
Hmm?
and I want all the benefits that society has put in place designed specifically for women.
Sure,
As a
like
matter
what?
of fact, I want to go and I want to apply for a business grant that was put in place to assist women to start businesses because they don't necessarily have the same advantages as men do in our society. So there's this hypothetical business grant, and I'm going to apply for it, and I should get it. And you say I should get that grant.
Well, if I was a member of the government who was in the position to deliver that grant, I would say that you have to go through the legal process of having your gender changed, like on your certificate. And after that, yeah, you could get that grant.
Whoa, 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 whoa! That's very discriminatory, boss. So I can't just identify as a woman. Now I have to do something.
Well, when it comes to receiving government
So you're saying
benefits, mm,
you're saying if I identify as a woman, I'm not. You're saying I'm not a woman. You're saying I don't qualify, Vaush.
no. I'm
I
saying
have to
that in
take
order for you to
steps.
receive government benefits, you need to certify whatever criteria or demographic it is that you're trying to get benefits for. So I, as an
Okay, so
individual,
I'll
would
write you a
immediately
letter
respect your
stating
change
I'm a woman.
So I would immediately respect your change in preference. However, the state would need some prolonged length of time or a certification process in order to be willing to do the same because, well, that's just kind of how the government works. I mean, it's the same way with anything, right? You can't just get any kind of license. You have to go through a process to certify that you need it. But that's not just a gender thing. That's everything.
Oh, okay. So, but what? Let's say I never take the steps, whatever those imaginary steps you're making up, because I don't think you really know what those steps are. Do you?
No, well, yeah, you would
You're
have to
just
get your
saying
gender changed.
hypothetically, whatever steps might be in place.
Wait, no, I'm not making that up. If
So
you
you're
wanted to
saying
get government benefits for being a woman or whatever that means, you would need to have your gender changed legally. I'm not making that up. That's true.
what do you mean? Okay, what do you mean by gender change legally? Define those terms. Do
Well,
you mean my sex organs removed,
no, like
or
you
do you
do.
mean a
Wait,
piece of paper that states I'm
you realize you can go to a court and you can get your gender changed, right? There are trans women who legally have their gender is F on all of their medical and everything documents. That's a process that exists. It's
in this
existed for
crazy
decades.
in this crazy in this crazy world, boss? I don't. I'm not disagreeing with you. I don't think that doesn't exist. What I'm saying to you though is, are you saying I could take a piece of paper I just acquired? Let's say I went to like a legal name change. I paid a fee, I got my name changed, and I have a document showing now I have a new name and I can get a driver's license. You're saying there's a similar process if I want to have my birth certificate and different documents changed to female.
Yes.
Nobody has to verify surgery or hormone changes or anything like that. It's simply me filing a request with a fee attached
Well,
to it,
I
correct?
think there's a doctoral requirement for getting your gender changed. I think you need affirmation from a medical professional, and there's a given length of time that has to go on for them to affirm it. Usually, the process of getting your gender legally changed actually involves a lot of legwork on the back end. You need to go to a medical professional, and the actual medical transition process can take some time. But I think it varies from state to state and country to country, too. It's actually pretty complicated.
Okay, well, let's say I went through that process you're describing, whatever that is here in America, and I do have that paperwork. And now you're saying I should be afforded the right to a grant designed for a woman.
Sure, if you're eligible for that grant as a woman, yeah, go for it.
Do you not see the insanity of your position?
Hmm. So, in order for you to prove its insanity, you would have to find literally any examples of people doing this disingenuously just to get government grants. That just doesn't happen. Turns out people aren't usually
No,
willing
no,
to
no, no, no,
spend
no, no. Hold,
years of their life.
disingenuous. No, hold on. Do you not agree that a woman that a woman, I'm sorry, that a grant that is designed for a woman, do you not believe if that grant exists, that it exists for a very specific reason? And if so, what would you say is the primary reason that grant exists in the first place, Vaush?
Probably to help out women, which trans women are. So
help out women, right? And women who live the life of a woman, who have the lived experience of an actual woman.
No,
okay,
you don't have to have the lived experience of a woman.
Hold on. What is the point of it, Vaush? The point of it is to help women achieve something, not to help a guy achieve something. Okay?
Well, then it's a good thing that no guys are getting grants for women, right? There are plenty of cisgender women who have atypical experiences in their lives when it comes to like how they get treated by society. Not every cis woman is like subjected to a bunch of sexism growing up. Sometimes they do get lucky and have good households or whatever, but they still are eligible for those grants. And if a trans woman doesn't have the growing up experiences of a cis woman, but is nonetheless a woman, by definition, categorically, they would still benefit from those grants.
There's nothing there's nothing about them that has the lived experience of a woman, because a man can't live the experience of a woman because he's not a woman by definition, Vaush.
We're not talking about the lived experience, though. And there are trans women who do. I've just spent years and years and years.
Are you eating like pizza right now? You sound like you're eating pizza while you're talking to me. Right
my bad. We don't have the microphone muted on Skype. That's my bad. Here, I'll put the mic away. Okay. We're good.
Could you just not stuff your face for 5 seconds?
You want to go gut to gut, buddy? You want to see what my chicken tendies have against your what do you have? Your new Vegas martinis?
I don't drink, buddy. Not for a long time, anyway.
Not for a long. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I hope you've burned off whatever you did back when you did, because we're gonna go gut to gut, buddy. Okay, we're gonna find out whether that insult of yours was warranted. They're chicken tendies, by the way, air fried, about as lean and healthy as you can get.
Oh my God!
Also very tasty.
So we have established that I can wake up tomorrow and decide I want to be an Asian female, 100 pounds lighter, and you think that's a very valid point, or you said no because certain aspects of that are not something I can identify as.
The latter, as we addressed, there's a difference between identifying as a different gender and identifying as a different weight.
We didn't address it, Vaush. You mentioned it in passing. We didn't talk about it.
No, I said it. I mean, I was right. You can ask me why I'm right. I'm happy to explain it to you.
Well, no, you're not right. You're wrong. You're wrong because
interesting. The government agrees with me, though, so I don't know about that one.
Everything that we see, everything, like a 250-pound man and a 150-pound man, those are just weights that we've assigned. It's a social construct, Vaush. So you don't tell me I'm 250 pounds, pal, because pounds are just something you created along with society.
I already explained this. There's a difference between a social construct and something which is a matter of identity. You can't empirically measure gender. The way gender is described doesn't conform to an inherent collection of biological traits. Now, you can concretely
your measurements are a social. Hold on. Your measurements are a social construct. So don't use words like you can give a specific measurement on this, because the measurement itself is a social construct.
Okay, I'm going to try to slow this down a bit, okay? So, hold on. From your perspective, not from my perspective, but from your perspective.
Draw circles and squares.
Okay, so I want your opinion on this, okay? So, is it possible...
Whoa. Are you going to do a Destiny and give me some convoluted, ridiculous hypothetical right now?
No, not even slightly, okay? Not even slightly.
Don't do it, dude.
I'm not going to do
Destiny, I'll call Destiny, okay?
I'm not going to do it, okay? I'm just going to ask you some very basic questions, okay? So, do you think it's possible for a person who is a baseball fan to become a football fan, to go from one to the next?
It would require some documentation and some verification, but yes.
Okay. Do you think it's possible for a person to say that the atoms in their body are no longer hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon, and what have you? Actually, they're all made of gold. That they identify as having all of their atoms and molecules being made up of gold. Do you think that's a thing a person can do?
Well, they can do whatever they want to do, sure.
Okay, but do you think that's a thing that should be recognized? Do you think that's a valid claim?
You would recognize that, so yes.
I'm asking for your perspective.
My perspective, Vaush, is you guys need to come back to reality.
Answer the question. You're running away. You're dashing. No, wait, hold on.
I can't run, Vaush, okay? I'm a little too old and sluggish. I don't run. I might drive.
You shouldn't have challenged me to a gut-to-gut competition, should you?
I might drive, away comfortably, but I'm not running anywhere.
So what is the difference?
No, I do not accept any of your nonsense.
That's fine. I do say a lot of silly stuff. So what is the difference between changing which type of sport you're a fan of and changing the atomic composition of your body? What's the difference between those things? Because they're both social constructs, how we adhere these things, you know. We made the periodic table, after all. We didn't discover it. We made it.
We didn't discover it. We made it. Okay. And what's the difference between changing my special sports team or sport, my favorite sport, as opposed to deciding I want to have a different cellular makeup?
What's the difference between those? Why is the former acceptable? Why could we recognize a change in that respect, and the latter is not?
Well, because there's zero effect on anyone around you for your decision. That's what I would. Now I know the answer you're fishing for is one is a choice I can make and one is not a choice I can make. That's the answer you're fishing for.
That is absolutely the answer I'm fishing for. But what does the effect on the people around you have to do with anything?
Because, Vaush, you guys are trying to force your insanity on the rest of the real world. And so you're trying to tell people, here's the bottom line. If anyone in America answers the question, is a trans woman a woman, and the answer is no, they're instantly labeled a bigot and a Nazi, and that's the end of the story. That's not how language is developed, Vaush. That's not how we're supposed to, as a society, come together and develop language. It's supposed to be utilitarian.
I noticed that you've run away from the question a little bit here, because it seems to me that you understand the difference, but you don't want to say it because you know that it would confirm my point.
No, I already gave you the answer you were fishing for, Vaush.
Okay, so you recognize that even though everything can be described as a social construct in one way or another, some things you can change a characteristic about a person, and in other ways you really can't. Some ways are more empirically determined than others.
Absolutely, that's a fact.
Okay, all right. Well, then we agree on that. So you seem to be pulling back to this broader societal argument about how we're destroying society and what have you. But I've looked at the numbers, and it doesn't really seem like accepting trans people harms anyone anywhere. I mean, in any metric.
Whoa. There is no accepting trans in America, my friend. And now let's just keep
the government already has, though, to some extent.
Hold on. Let's not. I don't want to talk about the world. Let's just talk about the United States of America to keep it kind of compact here. Okay. So when you tell someone, if they answer the question, is a trans woman a woman, they say no, and you say you're a bigot or a Nazi, that's not, and then the other person says, yes, they are a woman. That's not them agreeing. That's them not wanting to be called a Nazi, Vaush. The vast majority of Americans, when you ask that question and they answer in the affirmative, they're not saying to you, oh, yeah, totally a guy that wants to be a woman's a woman. Totally, dude. They're not agreeing with you. They don't want to be labeled a Nazi and a bigot. They don't want to be kicked off of Twitter.
Do you have any evidence of that? Or is that just sort of a feeling you have?
Well, then answer the question. If someone that you don't know answers that,
how do we move away from the original point? So you've accepted the validity of trans people. Now you're impugning the...
Are you going to answer my question or not? If someone that you
moved away from the original point, you were talking about whether or not changing your weight, like identifying as a different weight, is the same as identifying as a different gender. And we seem to have addressed that.
Okay, if weight is off the table for you, what about my race? Can I identify as an African American tomorrow and obtain a grant for African Americans?
There's not currently a legal process for that. There's a lot of really, really complicated back-end stuff.
About the law. I don't care about the law. I just care about
if you want a grant, that's a law thing.
If we should accept that as a society.
I'm gonna be real with you. I think the conversation about transracialism is a little beyond the purview of our discussion here, but it's a fairly nuanced topic.
So you're dodging.
No, I'm not. I legitimately think it's like a really nuanced conversation.
No, just tell me what you think, man. Should a white man be able to identify as a black woman and reap the benefits socially of anything we have in place for those two minority groups?
I think they should be able to identify as a woman. With regards to race, the reason why I'm not as comfortable with sort of like race transition in addition to the fact that empirically it doesn't seem to be a thing people want. We know, like medically and psychologically, that people want to transition their genders because we have millions and millions of case studies of people fighting for their whole lives to get rights along those lines. We don't really get that for race. Additionally, the social roles that are ascribed to people for their gender aren't really the same and don't operate the same way as roles ascribed to people because of their race. So I would argue that the ulterior utilitarian benefit in recognizing those conditions is minimal in comparison. However, if down the line there's some huge movement of white people who legitimately and sincerely seem to want to identify as black people, then I mean, I'd be willing to look at the available data. But right now, I don't think they're comparable.
Did you say a huge movement
Of white people who?
I mean, how many people in the United States of America are transgender, Vaush?
I'm pretty sure it's over 1 million, isn't it? It's around like a 0.5% of people who are. Hold on, number of trans people. That's a pretty good number. I mean, yeah, about 0.42% of U.S. adults.
Wait. 0.42 is a huge movement?
That's 1.5 million people in America.
That's a huge movement of people,
That's
considering
more than the population of more than half of the states in this country, isn't it? I mean, that's a pretty large number of people.
But that number of people, that should affect change across all of our society. That 0.04%.
Wait, do you think ethics are determined by how loud the voices of minorities are? What do you mean? Yeah, of course, absolutely. If it was just one person, then yeah, we should. If one person got some super rare disease or something, and like the scientists were like, we could update our medical journals, but it's only like one guy. Like, no, of course not. If the truth is the truth, right?
But it's not the truth. It's a fantasy.
I feel like we've been over that. Sorry, I ate into the mic for a second. That was my bad. It's really tasty.
You bastard, eating while you're talking.
I was playing in the snow earlier. I didn't have time to have lunch, and it takes a while to heat the oven and stuff. So
the only thing I like about you, Vaush, I'm going to be completely honest. You sweat like a pig on live streams. I can't stand people that sweat like pigs. It's like I can't trust a guy that sweats like a pig. I can't stand a guy who's got a painting of himself in the background. That annoys the shit.
A fan gave it to me. I like it. It's cool.
What I do like about you, Vaush, is you're a cat lover, and I'm a cat lover. That's the one thing we can come to agree on in this world, that cats are amazing. They're not quite as amazing as dogs, but they are amazing in and of themselves. So that is the only thing I'll ever like about you, Vaush. And of course that you're a capitalist. I mean, I know you pretend like you're a socialist and a communist and all this stuff for views, but I like that you're a capitalist, man. I went to your website. I saw all these ways people can give you money. I love that about you, man. Make your money.
Make sure to like and subscribe if you're watching, by the way, and donate.
You don't think I watch your show? You don't think I know all the stupid crap you say all the time? Of course I watch your show.
What stupid crap do I say?
I'm never going to donate to your dumbass, but I mean, you got other people that will donate.
Yeah, sure. Plenty of them. So wait, hold on. So
yeah, go ahead.
What's the issue with like trans people in the US? I mean, it seems like they don't cause harm, and I feel like there's a really, really strong linguistic and psychological and sociological justification for their existence. So that's enough to like satisfy me. It's way better than the arguments I hear from transphobes. So with all that said, like, what's the harm, right?
I don't want them to not exist, Vaush. Don't be ridiculous. See, that's where you guys play on this whole Nazi crap. I don't care if people exist. I don't care if you identify as a unicorn. You can go play in the field tomorrow as a unicorn all day, Vaush. I don't care what you identify as. I don't care what anybody identifies as. What I care about is when things like the Biden administration puts in an executive order, for example, that forces all schools across the country as it's just a rule that they got to follow from their dictator friend, that all sports programs have to accept men into women's sports, women into men's. It's just things like that.
Do you have a problem with executive orders?
I have a problem. No, I have a problem with Joe Biden. And I have
why'd you call him a dictator? I mean, Donald Trump was like doing that patriotic education thing. He was the king of executive orders.
Donald Trump is not a dictator. He's one of the greatest presidents that ever lived. That's for another conversation, Vaush.
But how's it dictatorial when Biden does it?
Biden is an incredible dictator, man. Are you kidding me? I mean, he marched 35,000 troops into the state capitol on the 6th there, or leading up to the 6th. I mean, that's
he wasn't the president.
Oh yeah, but he was rooting that shit on, man. He was rooting that
Wait,
on.
on the
Wasn't
6th, he was a private citizen. He wasn't even a government
all right.
official.
I'm just joshing with you. Let's move on. You
Okay.
got to learn. You're going to learn to know when I'm joking a little bit. I don't think Biden's a dictator, dude. Come on.
Okay. Well, all
So
right. Well, you got
so
me.
if you can't tell when I'm
You old chain
I'm
rattler.
not a guy. I'm not going to call Biden a dictator. He's just a dipshit, and he is a child molester, by the way. There you go. I'll give you that one. He is. I got video of that one. But
Really?
that's not
Damn, it's
going
a
on.
shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame Epstein killed himself. We couldn't get all the logs of what he and Trump were up to for the years they were close personal friends, huh?
Oh, it's funny if half of your if one person in your audience would just take a second right now and actually search out, on YouTube, Biden touching little girls. There's all kinds of videos of him touching little girls, man. It's pretty sick.
You do
Pretty sick
realize,
stuff.
like, Trump was legit, like, friends with Epstein. Like, he even talked about how they had a shared love of young
I
girls.
don't care. Biden was physically, sexually touching little girls. I don't give a
Wait,
crap what you say about
sexually?
Trump.
He was, like, kind of, like, creepily, like, touching their shoulders and hair, whereas Donald Trump was
Touching
close person. Wait,
breasts,
hold
dude.
on, wait, really quick, because Donald Trump was close personal friends with the international notorious pedophile billionaire ringleader with an island and a private jet. I feel like these are not comparable degrees. Trump's had multiple sexual assault and rape lawsuits filed against him, like 26, one of which was from a 13-year-old girl who she only dropped because she was getting death threats. I don't think this is like a line, like a rhetorical line you want to run down with Biden, you know? I feel like Trump's
No,
pretty...
I really don't have a problem doing that because when I talk about Biden, I don't have to talk about anybody else in the world, Vosh. I can just talk about Biden.
Oh, that's fair.
I
You
don't
can
have to talk
criticize
about
Biden on
Obama.
his own
I
merits, but
Bush. I have to talk about Trump. If I see a video of somebody doing a criminal act, and it's a criminal act when you touch a 6-year-old's breast, not her shoulder, Vosh, and not her hair, but when you touch a 6-year-old breast against her will and she pulls away from you because she knows it's wrong, I don't need to talk about anybody else in the room, Vosh.
I just
I
have
can
a
just talk
feeling
about
you're more
this guy.
anti-Biden than you are anti-child
I'm
molestation.
anti. No, I think I'm anti-child molestation, Vosh. I
But
really do. I
did you
don't.
ever complain about Trump, anything Trump did or said?
Here, here we go. Trump's never molested a child, to my knowledge. I don't have any
Okay,
video of that.
no, this is what I mean. It's okay. I don't feel like running down the whole argument where you clearly only care about political partisanship.
Show me the video, bud. Show me the video. I'll show you the video.
Wait. You want to see?
Video.
Are you asking me to share child pornography with you? Are you okay? I don't know if you want to be admitting to that right now. I don't keep any child porn on my computer. I don't know, like, if you've got a stash you want to add to, or...
I'm sure you don't, Vosh. I'm sure you don't, buddy.
All right, so...
I know about your child pornography, by the way, so let's get back to the topic.
Yeah, do you have any more, like, dumb things I've said that you want to run over?
Well, there's a million of them, Vosh. I mean, I don't have them all night here, and I think you said I had to get off at 6, right? Oh, we got a little time. It's only 5:38. We're doing pretty good. Okay, so let's continue with our transgender stuff here. So, how can you possibly believe in your mind? Well, I think I heard you saying. Let me make sure I'm not
Talk about
misquoting.
an issue that actually affects people. Like, is this really the culture war discourse that gets you up in the morning?
How many people, Vosh? How many people?
I just mean, with all the serious problems that our country is facing right now.
No. Don't say serious problems, Vosh. If there are women who are in high school who are trying to move on to college and trying to get a, let's say, a sports scholarship, don't minimize their life achievements and what they're trying to do.
Hold on. It's not about minimizing them. It's that it's weird to me that usually when I talk to Trump supporters or whatever, they have like so many criticisms about the way that our country works, but they always run down the same like incredibly minimal edge case dialogue trees about like trans people.
Edge case dialogue trees about. Are you kidding me, Vaush? I heard you say, now I don't want to misquote you, so I'm going from memory here, okay? But I thought you said there was not one example in sports of a trans woman harming a real woman in any way that was significant. It was something along those lines. And I don't remember the exact
phrase. What do you mean by harm? Like hurting? I'm sure there have been incidents of trans women hurting cis women.
No, not physical harm. I'm talking about career harm or harm to their
If by harm you mean a trans woman outperformed a cis woman, then yeah, sure, that's happened. I mean,
well, that doesn't just happen. It happens regularly, Vaush.
I mean, I haven't seen any data to that effect. This seems like a really minor problem. No conservative gave a fuck about women's sports until trans people got involved in it. Here, I'll tell you what. Hold on. Let's be
It's always
constructive.
trivial, Vosh. It's always trivial, Vosh. You always say things like, let's focus on some bigger problems. Let's not think about this right now.
It's not,
Even
wait.
though
I've talked about it so many times in my stream. It's just, it's unironically incredibly trivial compared to like 98% of the shit going on in the world. But this is the stuff you choose to get mad over because it's way easier than defending any of Trump's position than anything else. Here, wait. Let's be constructive. I want to be constructive. Let's build together.
We
Can
are
we build?
talking about trans women in sports. It's on the topic. What
Yeah,
are you
so
talking
let's build together, okay? So if you want to prevent this from being an issue,
I'm not going to let you go. I need you to hear this. I'm not going to sit here and have you say, let's talk about Trump this, Trump that, this, that, and the other. Talk about all these other things when we're talking about trans women in sports. That's the topic.
We're not talking about that. You're talking about it. I'm bored by this conversation. Like, sorry, not just convo. That particular subject.
Conversation. I move on to the conversation. Then 2 seconds later, because you can't defend it, you say, I'm bored. Let's move on.
Talking about trans women in sports with conservatives who don't give a fuck about women's sports and clearly don't understand trans issues is the most boring, reductive, useless waste of time imaginable. But I'll tell you this much.
That is a piece of shit way of running from the argument. There.
Wait, hold on. You have to collectively agree to a conversational topic, you and me together. Like, if you don't want to talk about something, I won't talk about it.
I sent you the list in the email. That's why you brought me on. I'm on that list.
I brought you on because you looked like you'd be fun to talk to, my friend. Now, look, I want to ask you, constructively speaking, okay? Do you want? I am. Do you? And your call lag thing stopped too, so you actually sound a lot clearer now, which is nice. Do you think that we should do something to minimize the unfair advantage you believe trans women have over cis women?
I believe one of two possibilities exist, because I don't want to say trans people should not be able to compete in sports. So I would say if a trans woman wants to compete in sports, there should be one of two things happen. Either he's forced to compete in men's division, or they can create a trans division. Now, currently, I don't think there's enough of the population competing in sports at a local level, let's say in a high school, college level, that would be able to fulfill a trans division. So until that happens, that could happen in the future. Until that happens, they're going to have to compete in the men's class, and trans men are going to have to compete in the women's class, and that's it. And if they can't compete, they can't compete. That's it.
What about puberty blockers? Do you think that might be a good way of addressing it?
What is it?
Puberty blockers. Do you think that might be a good way of addressing the situation?
What do you mean?
Well, the reason why trans women sometimes have athletic advantages over cis women is because when they experience male puberty, they have a higher androgen sensitivity, which increases their bone density, muscle strength, stuff like that. But that only happens if you go through a male puberty. If you take hormone blockers, which prevents that, and then you transition with feminizing hormones, the outcome of all of that is that you really don't get the physiological benefits that you would have gotten if you'd experienced a male puberty. So effectively, in that respect, a trans woman is on the same athletic playing field as a cis woman.
I don't believe you. For one, let's just start there. I don't believe you. And now you're going to tell me, well, all of science believes you or agrees with you. I know you're going to say that.
You can look into it on your own if you want. I mean,
well, I will say this: there's a lot of differences in the male body from the female body, from bone structure, muscle mass, size, the flexibility in ligaments, joints, all kinds. There's a reason why women throughout all of history have fulfilled a certain role and men have fulfilled a certain role. It's because that's the way we were designed.
Okay, who's stronger, a 6-year-old boy or a 6-year-old girl?
Who's stronger in what way?
Just generally. Like in a broad athletic sense, who's stronger?
No. Who can lift? Well, you got to be specific here. Who can lift more weight above their head? Who can endure more pain? Who can run faster or farther? I mean, what strength are you referring to?
I guess any and all. Do you think there's a significant difference?
Let's say strength of lifting weights above head. I would say, and I don't know this is true, but my guess would be a boy at 6 would be able to lift more weight above his head than a girl at 6. And I don't know if that's true, but that seems to be logical in my mind.
Gotcha. Why do you think that's logical?
Just seems to be a logical assessment that men are stronger than women, period.
Yeah, but what physiological processes lead to men being stronger than women?
What physiological processes? I'm not a biology major there, Vaush. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you the breakdown of how the chemical processes are happening. What's happening there in the body? I don't know.
Well, the benefits.
Do you think the woman would be stronger in that scenario? She'd be able to lift a 50-pound weight as opposed to a boy lifting a 30-pound weight above his
No,
head?
I think they're about the same. So hold on. I'm looking at a research paper right here. This is muscular strength and power in 3 to 7-year-old children, so prepubescent. Adult weight machines were modified to accommodate the smaller size and lower strength levels of the children. That's probably good. No interaction or sex differences were observed for any variable at any age. So pre-puberty, little boys and girls are basically, when it comes to athleticism, the same, because all of the conditions which lead to men outperforming women take place over puberty. So if we prevent that puberty, then they should be on pretty much the same playing field, you know?
And you think it's a good thing to prevent puberty?
If it's deemed medically helpful, yeah.
How long has this process of blocking puberty been around, Vaush?
Since the late 1970s, puberty blockers were used in cisgender children who were experiencing early adolescence on account of a thyroid disorder. And it's been determined safe from those trials without long-term effects. And more recently, we've started to use it to treat gender dysphoria early on by preventing trans women or whatever from experiencing a puberty they didn't want to go down.
Okay, but in the case of a transgender individual, right? At what point would you start to administer these puberty blockers? At what for them to be effective?
Get some plates. Well, usually what happens is if a child is demonstrating early signs of gender nonconforming behavior to an extent that it seems like it might be medically necessary or relevant, they go to a psychiatrist and a doctor. And they
Holy shit. What the fuck?
So I want to be clear about something. Hold on. I want to be clear about something. When I just said that, what I don't mean is a little boy trying on makeup, okay? I mean persistent and long-term indications from the people around them that this child is actively rejecting the physiological and social characteristics associated with their gender.
Got it. So I got it. So they're libtard parents who are fucking libs fucking say, oh, my kid, look at him. He's such a little girl. He loves girl things. He loves the little dress I bought him. He loves the little toys I bought him. Get the fuck out of here.
And then, hold on. And then
fucking psychiatric fucking visit with a 6-year-old. Fuck
and
you.
And then, not a 6-year-old, probably more around 9 or 10. Probably
fuck
around,
you again.
Hold on. So then you go to a doctor, and the doctor will refer you to a psychiatrist with a specialist inclination in pediatric gender psychiatry. And then over the course of
fuck out of here with your bullshit.
And then over the course of a long period of time.
9-year-old. Hold on. So you're telling me a 9-year-old is going to be put on puberty blockers because a fucking parents took him to a fucking doctor?
I feel like you're not listening to me. So let's go over the process again.
Assholes decided, let's put them on puberty blockers?
So let's try again. So hold on. I know you're very triggered right now, but we're almost at the point. Hold on. Hold on. So
triggered is for liberals. Anger is for
if I acted the way you did, I would also have to convince myself that it could only happen to liberals. So
I'm fucking angry.
What happens is, well, maybe you'll calm down if you listen for a bit. So
I doubt it.
After you go to a doctor, you're recommended to a psychiatrist with relevance in the field, and then over a process of a long time, sometimes longer than years, that psychiatrist works with the child to try to determine the extent to which these perceived early signs of gender dysphoria are legitimate. Then, if after a lengthy medical examination, I mean like a long time, like this is an ongoing process, preliminary trials for taking puberty blockers can be ascertained. Now, the nice thing about puberty blockers is that they are completely reversible. So if it turns out that a kid gets on them at 10, and then at 11 or 12, they're like, actually, it was temporary, it was a phase, whatever. You just get off the puberty blockers, and you're A-okay.
Temporary phase. A temporary phase. Are you fucking kidding me right now? So hold on a second. Oh God, I don't know where to begin.
There really isn't any evidence of like.
I don't even know where to begin.
This leading to long-term harm of children.
This is fucking child abuse on a massive scale right here. This is outrageous.
Well, you don't think being trans is a real thing, so you're probably not educated enough to comment on the medical process.
Parents, I'm very educated on reality. Parents who put their children through this should be thrown in jail, Vaush. They don't deserve to be parents. Okay,
so wait, hold on.
There. Secondly,
wait, why? For taking their kid to the doctor?
I'm not going to hold up there. You're a fucking. If you're puberty blocking, what level are you modifying their bodies, Vaush? Is it
You're just
cellular? What level would you say you're modifying their
it's
bodies?
it's
Is it
endocrinal. The thyroid is, I think, the thyroid and parts of the brain are prevented from releasing the chemicals
oh,
necessary to induce puberty.
so so at what age does puberty begin, and what age does puberty run the cycle?
Doesn't that depend on the kid? I started puberty super early, but there were people who were like
So
12 and 13.
give me the range, Vosh. I don't know it. I don't have Google in front of me, so give me the range. What is the range of puberty? I'm sure there's a range, right?
I'm guessing it's
Nine, nine to
probably like 9 to 13, but don't girls start earlier or do they start later? It's something.
okay. So you're saying by the age of, let's say, 13, hypothetically, or maybe 15, they're done with puberty.
No, you're not done with puberty until you're in your 20s.
Well, that's why I just asked you what the range was,
Oh,
Vosh.
oh, I thought you meant for starting puberty. Well,
No.
usually you start puberty, like ballparking it, I think, 9 to 13, maybe that ballpark, but it goes on until the completion of your physiological development. I mean, up to
Got it.
24,
So
27.
okay, 20s. So we'll say mid 20s. So let's say this kid gets on this stuff at an early age, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever, one of those ages. He gets on it because his fucking fucked up ass parents got him on it.
Well,
And
wait,
then
hold on. The parents don't get them on it. They go through years of psychiatric review from a doctor. The parents just take
give
them
a
to the
fuck,
doctor.
Bosh. The parents fucking started the bullshit, okay?
The parents
So
don't have the power to prescribe puberty blockers.
parents started the bullshit, okay? And then the kid, let's say he makes it all the way to 22, and he says, you know what? This is fucked up, man. I don't like this anymore. What
Nobody's
is he
on
now
puberty
done?
blockers for that
Are
long.
you saying at that point it's completely reversible? All the effects are reversible at that point.
Nobody would ever be prescribed puberty blockers that long in life.
I'm saying they had the puberty blockers, and all of the effects took place of what that is. And you're saying later on, like they're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, they can decide to go back and fix it all.
Well, no, you would decide. Wait, I don't know what you mean by fix it all, but you would never be prescribed that late.
Reverse the effects, Vaush.
You would never be taking puberty blockers that late unless there was some other medical condition that you were trying to prevent. Usually, medical puberty blockers are prescribed until like 16 to 17. I think thereabouts.
So wait a minute. So I could be misunderstanding this entire conversation now. I was led to believe that you were saying that a parent could see some behavior in a child that they thought was non-gender conforming, and then they could take that child to a doctor to get some verification, who would refer them to a psychiatrist who would do some studies and observe this child for many months, years, and then they would all come together as a kumbaya and make a decision on this child, on whether this child should reverse or change over to the other gender. Is that not what you said?
No, just to prevent your puberty from happening. Usually what happens is they take the puberty blockers up until a more formative age, 15 or 16. Your brain still develops. Puberty blockers don't seem to affect brain development in any way. It doesn't like keep kids immature in their brain or anything. And then by that age, usually people, like the kid, has a good understanding of what gender they want to live as. If they decide, actually, I take it back, fuck it, whatever, I want to live as a boy, let's go for it. You get off the puberty blockers, puberty hits you like a fucking Mack truck, and then you get puberty a little later than most other people, sure, but at the end of the day, you end up pretty much where everyone else does. But if you decide, fuck yeah, let's live as a woman, now you get to start taking feminizing hormones without having gone through male puberty, meaning that you're essentially, like, you don't have to climb up that big hill to begin with, you know? And it's a much easier, smoother transition, which is good because that lowers the risk of suicidality, which is obviously what we would want. We want to minimize the harm to children, which is why what I'm describing to you here is considered standard medical practice in America and in many other countries around the world.
If there is a medical condition, Vaush, that requires puberty blockers to correct or to fix, and when I say medical condition, Vaush, I'm not talking about fucking transgenderism. I'm talking about an actual medical condition that is harmful to the child, and these puberty blockers do that. They fix that problem. That's one thing. But you started this conversation saying that parents noticed a child exhibiting non-gender conforming fucking behavior. That's how you started this conversation. Not that they had a physical ailment, not that they had any diseases or any problems. They're just normal kids.
How would you determine if a kid might be trans?
I would wait for a kid to become a fucking adult and make a choice,
Well,
Vaush.
that right there is the issue.
Just like
It turns
I
out
do. No. It's not the issue, Vaush, because guess what? We don't let children make decisions in any other aspect of life that's life altering. A kid can't sign a contract. A kid can't buy a pack of cigarettes. A kid can't join the military. And we do that because we understand children aren't able to make
sure we
decisions
do.
like that.
So say a child
Being
is demonstrating
transgender, hold on, let me finish.
Okay.
Being transgender, which you just recognized, was of incredibly high suicidality rate in the transgender community.
No,
Like
not
almost,
incredibly high. It's higher than average, but it goes down
it's like
significantly.
50%, right? About
No,
50%,
it's not
43%.
No, it's not 43%.
What is it?
I don't know
What
what
is
the
it, Vaush?
suicide rate is. The 42%
Okay, well,
statistic that's often miscited is attempted suicides within the past 3 years, and it used a vanishingly small sample size. In reality, the risk of suicidality decreases by 16/17 if you have parents who accept you and if you're allowed to gender transition.
That sounds pretty fancy there, Vaush.
Yeah, so that would be like a 93% reduction in suicidality.
How about this, though? How about children are not able to make life-changing decisions at the age of 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, or 13, Vaush, or even 15 or 16?
Well, that's why they're reversible. That's the benefit. They don't. If you get your kid on puberty blockers, it doesn't harm them long term. That's the benefit of the process. If it did, if taking puberty blockers at like 9 or whatever, like permanently like fucked a body or like permanently set you down the path for transition, doctors wouldn't do it. It's because of their reversibility that they're praised. I'll give you an example. You want a quote unquote real medical procedure, schizophrenia or other types of paranoid or psychiatric disorders. Children can exhibit signs of those pretty young, but you can't put a dipstick in their ear and determine whether or not they actually have it. You have to, as parents, recognize it and then take them to a doctor, and then the doctor takes you to a psychiatrist, and then you have to make the incredibly life-altering decision of whether or not you want a kid to be put on anti-psychiatric medication, which can have a lot of serious side effects, but you have to determine is better for their long-term health based on the conditions that you can recognize today.
And you equate that with transgenderism.
Well, I don't think that being trans is something to be cured or alleviated with medication the way that paranoid disorder might. But I think in the sense of these are psychiatric inclinations we might want to recognize and address early on in life. Yeah, I think they're similar in that respect.
Would you say there's an uptick in recent years of the number of people who identify as transgender but don't actually have gender dysphoria?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what would you say is the cause of that?
I would say that gender roles are loosening a little bit, and it's making people feel more comfortable leaving the social ascriptions that they thought were the only path they had in life.
Okay, so has nothing to do with the way the media has changed.
Yeah, sure. Well, the media portrayal of interracial relationships also led to more of those too. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing.
I think I knew you were going to go with interracial relationships at some point. It took you a while to get there.
Well, that's a perfectly analogous example. Hold on really quick. I have 2 minutes until I have to jump into the next debate. I apologize. I actually would like to spend more time talking about this. We can talk more in the future. Do you want to hit on a final meme or point or question? You can even ask a question. I'll leave it open-ended. We can.
No, I mean, there's actually a lot of other things I'd love to talk to you about. I'd love to talk to you about your ridiculous stance on Kyle Rittenhouse and the mob that tried to murder him in the streets and how he defended himself. And you believe that anytime you are faced with a mob, you should put down your weapon, raise your arms, and basically give yourself over to the mob. I would love to really have a long conversation with you about that.
I'm very Christ-like in my social prescriptions, turn the other cheek.
Well, you probably have never read the Bible a day in your life, so I'm not really gonna really.
Oh,
really
are you saying the word
of
God, that the relationship with Jesus Christ is one which must exclusively be expressed through reading the Bible? I thought Protestants were all about cultivating a personal relationship. Are you Catholic?
That's the only way you're going to come to know Jesus Christ is through the Word of God, my friend.
I hear it in my thoughts and my dreams, okay? And it tells me that Kyle Rittenhouse is kind of a shitbag.
Whatever you're hearing is lying to you, okay? And it's not of God, okay? Whatever you're hearing in your ears, no, that's not of God, my friend.
All right. No, I'll keep that in mind. I appreciate you coming on, by the way.
Hey, enjoy your chicken nuggets, and I would love to have you on for some more of this. We didn't get enough time to really get into this stuff, man. I had a lot more to say, but maybe next time.
We'll carve out more time for it next time, just the way scheduling worked out today. All right, be well, okay?
Later.
Later.